same time or not?
No, it doesn't look like it right now.
Okay, well, we'll get going anyways. All right, we'll call the meeting to order at 6:06. This board of directors has written and supports a land acknowledgement and anti-racism statement that we have posted on our website. Roll call, we are missing Noel tonight. And that is it. All right, do we have a motion to adopt the agenda?
Move to adopt the agenda.
Second.
All those in favor?
Is there discussion?
Oh, sure.
I'd like to add new member approval for the PTR committee.
Any objections to that?
I emailed you, but maybe you didn't get it.
Yeah, I did. I forgot. Sorry.
Hey, man, no worries.
So what is that again? It's going to have to be under new business.
Yeah, new member appointment.
On which committee? Long range planning?
Parks.
Parks? Okay.
All right. If there's no objections there, then can we get a motion to approve the amended agenda?
Motion to approve the amended agenda.
Second.
All right. All those in favor? All right. That sounds good. We'll be moving on to our board vacancy candidate interviews. Do you have to do a motion to move over there, or?
No, we should probably explain to the audience, we'll be going into a Zoom meeting for the candidates to be interviewed by the board. And then we will be returning to the webinar for the board to vote once the interviewing is complete.
Okay. All right. See everybody over there.
Okay, I
Okay.
Some of the folks in the audience have the coolest names.
What? Let me go look.
Are we all back? I have no idea.
I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to get out of here. There.
Is Noel here?
I haven't. No, I just looked and I
She
didn't.
jumped in the interviews. I saw her at one point.
Hmm.
If she's the only one that's missing, she doesn't vote. It's
Mhm.
only you, it's, she and I have no voting privileges. So I guess we should go ahead and commence with voting. You have, the board has 3 candidates they can choose from: Elizabeth Vidal, Sonia Wold, and James Owen. I'm going to turn this over to Rachel now, and she's going to explain the voting process to you.
Okay, if everyone could just private chat me who they are voting for, and then I'll tally up the totals and send it to Linda, and she'll announce. All right.
Rachel, would you do me a favor and let me know if what the totals were, if it's unanimous, or could you send that to me also,
Yes.
please? Thank you. Thank you. In a 6-2 vote. Oh, wait a minute. No, I take that back. Okay. There were 6 for Sonia Wold, who is our new board member that has been appointed by the board. And Elizabeth and James each got 1 vote. So that's your new person who has been appointed to the board. John, if you would please bring her over as a panelist.
Okay, we're bringing Sonia on over.
Thank you. Rachel, would you also save that chat? It's just It's just a way of preserving how they voted.
Yep, sure will.
Thank you.
Okay, Sonia, I've added you to the meeting.
All right. Welcome, Sonia. We appreciate you taking the time to devote to joining the board of directors. We look forward to your participation.
Well, thank you
Uh,
for giving me the opportunity. I'm really excited. Thank you so much.
Sonia, just a quick note. Staff will be making you up a board binder that looks very much like the ones we received at orientation. Glenn will give you a call when that's ready and sit down with you, give you your binder at admin, and just arrange to bring you up to date with stuff a little bit on what's going on.
Okay, great. Thanks. And just for the record, my preferred name is Sonia Volt. So that's the pronunciation. It's Volt. So just thought I'd clarify that. Thank you.
I'd like to thank James and Liz both for applying. Sorry, Liz was unable to join us for the interview, and I hope that everything is going fine there. All right, we will move forward with our agenda then. The next thing on the list is the consent agenda. So if there are no objections to the consent agenda, then that will be approved by acclamation. Linda?
I have a comment on them and I have an objection. The April 8th minutes that were submitted to us originally have errors in that need to be corrected. And I would like to point out that the November 19th minutes, and a member from the community has sent us that too, were approved once and there was an omission. Robert's Rules of Order, section 4815 says, if the existence of an error or material omission in the minutes becomes reasonably established after their approval, even many years later, the minutes can then be corrected by means of a motion to amend something previously adopted, which is what I would like to do, which requires a 2/3 vote or a majority vote with notice, or the vote of a majority of the entire membership, which means the board. So I just would like to do that with the minutes from the 19th so that when they go in, they'll be corrected. Originally, when they were published and approved, they omitted the consent agenda for the minutes for the October meetings. And by correcting this, which they are now corrected to include, we can go back and those minutes will then be approved. But that's what I would ask. But I would reject doing the April 8th minutes because there's lots of errors in it.
You have a motion for that?
That I guess what I would say is that we approve the November 7th meetings. We would amend something previously adopted for the minutes of November 19th. And I would vote that we reject April 8th minutes as presented to us with the board packet originally.
So for clarity, staff can't just change the minutes based on one board member. So what we're looking for is in that motion, Linda, just tell us to make the proposed changes that you've submitted, and then we'll resubmit to the rest of the board for approval. That'll help us make sure we are open and transparent about what we're doing.
Yeah, I wasn't aware if any of the other board members submitted any changes or edits.
Not at this time, and that's why I want to open that up and make sure that we get it right and everyone's good with it when we bring it back next time. That's all I'm looking to do.
So do you want me to amend my motion, AJ? Or we can leave the 8th the way they are, and then you'll be bringing them back here and doing the. So what would you like to do?
I think, well, you kind of made 3 motions in one. I'm not sure that's really acceptable for starters.
Okay,
I think you're
So-
gonna have to kind of go through this one by one for clarity's sake, so that everyone understands where you're at on each vote.
Hey, guys, may I interject really quick, even though I just did? Linda, I'm
Go ahead,
not
Josh.
definitely. Noelle's trying to get to the meeting, so I'm not sure how we can help her.
John?
I actually had just resent her an invite to the open session.
Okay.
I'll see if I can get in contact with her.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Okay, as regards the consent agenda, I would ask the board to please accept and approve the November 7th annual general meeting minutes as submitted. And if you'd please take a vote on that.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion around that? All right, we'll call the question as stated. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that passes.
Next, on the November 19th, 2020 minutes, I vote to make a motion to amend something previously adopted. And the correction is that this set of minutes that is amended now includes the consent agenda approval that was missing from the original set of minutes.
Second.
Any discussion? All right, call the question as the motion stated. All those in favor? Any opposed? All
And
right,
last-
that passes.
And last but not least, the April 8th minutes of 2021 as submitted. There's several errors in them, and I would vote that we reject doing that. I had sent something over to Glenn regarding these minutes because there were so many problems with them. And if you all like, I can send you a copy of it, but I would vote that we have them corrected first and resubmitted possibly at the second meeting this month. Nope, it's going to be in May, the first meeting in May.
Do we have a
Second.
second?
Yes, I seconded it. Seconded it.
Any discussion on that?
It's a
All
quick
right,
question. I have a question. Is this a transition in admin thing that's going on here? Anyway, with the,
So some of it definitely was, and then I think some of it is actual substantive. So there's a number of them that were numbering issues and stuff that Linda caught that we have already fixed, and then some of them are substance related as far as what interpretations of what was said and that sort of thing.
gotcha.
I can send you all a copy of the email that I sent to Glenn to have them look at it, and that will probably explain a lot of things. The one thing you all should still be aware of as regards minutes, we are still missing a set of November 5th, 2020 minutes that were on in the last board meeting that we voted to bring forward that haven't been brought forward yet, that need to still be brought forward to catch us up.
It would be, I'm not sure what our group norm is on this, but if you send corrections, it would be nice for us to be copied so that when we're looking over minutes, we can see that someone else caught that. So we're not all sending the same corrections.
That would be very helpful for staff as well. Thank you.
So what would we do about November? Then, Linda, what are you asking?
It needs to be November 5th, needs to be put on the next time we have a consent agenda, and we all need to vote, or y'all need to vote to approve it. It's never been approved.
That was one of the group of minutes, though, that I had raised the objection to me and possibly other new board members, if they feel the same way, approving because we weren't at that meeting. That was one of those groups of minutes that we felt that maybe the previous board should sign off on because half of us weren't there.
I don't think that's logistically feasible. And the fact that it was 2 days before the AGM made it impossible for that board to do that. And so, you know, we are going to have to take that extra step now to vet those things. And, you know, we could make the meetings the minutes very simple, that they just reflect the motions and the votes, and, you know, don't get into any of the other details necessarily.
Andrew, I believe before the fifths were approved, before they were approved, we noticed that, or it was noted that that was when the new golf cars were purchased. And I think that was missing from the draft, but it was added before you voted on it. But I think that was also one of the problems with those minutes. But they were corrected before they were approved.
Well, I'll
Maybe
get
we
with
just
Glenn
need
and
to-
we'll figure that out. We'll figure out November 5th.
Okay, that's the only one that's hanging back there from forever.
Sonia, did you have?
Well, I was just going to suggest, why can't we just have a staff member review the video of that board meeting? So you've got an impartial party. They can just, like what you're saying, make it pretty straightforward, right? Where you're taking the motions and the highlights, and then you all can be pretty comfortable with, I think that it hits all the important points, because I think that's what Kim's worried about.
That's how we do the minutes anyway, Sonia. That's how staff generally does them, is review the videos at least once, but usually multiple times to get them. So that's what we'll do to get them ready for you.
Okay. So I guess I don't understand what the problem is. If that's what's currently happening, you're going by the video, but there's still it's just missing some key elements.
Yep.
Is that what we're talking about?
No, we had a big backlog of minutes through all the transitions. And so we've been working for the last three months to get through them. And to Linda's point, we have one more left. That's all we got left, other than fixing the 8th. So it's just a backlog. We were all the way back into October, I believe.
Yes, sir.
So we're almost there.
All right. So the motion on the table then is to send back April 8th for the edits. Is there any further discussion on that? All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that passes. All right, moving on from the consent agenda, we have announcements. I will start by making an announcement. We posted our RFP in both the Daily Journal of Commerce and the Bellingham Herald, and we put it on our website and completed our targeted emailing solicitation to consultants for helping us recruit our next general manager. And that's my only announcement. Does anybody else have anything? Seeing none, we will continue moving on, and we have our first round of property owner comments.
Okay.
property owners' comments tonight. We've got a good crowd in the audience here. If anybody would like to join in, just use the raise hand feature in Zoom and I'll bring you over. It's like 12 attendees tonight, but perhaps no takers quite yet. I think there is another round of this at the end of the meeting as well.
All
John,
right.
how's that new office treating you?
It's nice. You can actually keep all the IT stuff in one place.
Awesome.
All right. Thank you, John. Seeing none, we will continue on, and I will hand it over to Glenn or to Kim for the treasurer's report.
So I am going to pass that over to Joel so that he can read our report. I have no report from the committee at this time, so I will hand it over to Joel.
Okay, I'll just quickly, of course, I went over this. I don't know how many people probably watched last night at the Finance Committee. So I'm just going over the exact same statements that I did last night. So I'll just quickly just run through the statements again. Shouldn't take any more than an hour, I suppose. If I cut it short, that is.
At an hour.
I'll just share the screen here. And I take it, obviously, I assume you can all see the balance sheet, or you can see numbers anyways on here.
Yes.
It's like a balance sheet, Joel.
Yeah.
Yes.
So starting out with the balance sheet, so there's nothing, the good thing is there's nothing too excited with the balance sheet. So we really don't need to spend too much time on this. This is just showing us our operating assets, any liabilities that the only liability we have is this SURF loan right here, that 1.2 million, and in operations, the PPP loan liability, that 357,700 here. But net operating assets are nice and positive. If these were negative net operating assets, that would mean you're really eating into prepaid assessments, which obviously is not the case, not even close. So, and then it's just all capital cash in here. Fixed assets, and then your just basically your equity line items, but everything looks fine for the balance sheet. Going on to the next page, so for you that'd be page 3 in your agenda packet. What you're looking at right here is actually the financial report that's on the website. So anyone could go to the Finance Committee webpage and you could see this. This is actually the full report, so this is like 32 pages long. But what I'm looking at right now is page 3 in your agenda packets. This is the income statement right here.
God damn son of a bitch.
So the
Can you mute your mics if you're not talking? Because there's some foul language missed.
I actually say stuff like that a lot when things aren't balancing when I put these statements together, actually. So our net income here for February, this is year to date, net operating for operations net income 114,190. In comparison, February 2020 it was 73,232. So we're up from where we were a year ago at this time. We're actually better than budget by 38,229 here. Last year we were actually worse than budget by 14,645 at the end of February 2020. I'll come back to the collection rate. I talked about that last night. And I always talk about the expense revenue ratio, and I'll just explain it again real quick, just for understanding, like how you can understand it. But like the total expenses, this right here, this 510,493, basically this number divided by the total revenue will give you a ratio of what your expenses are to revenue. So if you had 50 cents in expenses and $1 in revenues, your expense to revenue ratio would be 50% in that case. So a lower number is always better. So our expense to revenue ratio is 81.7% at the end of February 2020. A year ago at the end of February 2021, a year ago at the end of February 2020 was 88.3%, so it's higher. So since it's 81.7%, now it's lower than last year, which is better. Month to date, I guess this column right here, this far left column is just, you're only looking at the month, just for the month of February. So you'll see there's a net loss for the month of 70,968. Last year, there's a net loss of 20,812. So actually in February last year, it was actually better just for that month. Then we were $36,639 worse off budget only for February. Last year, we were better than budget by 12,933 or 12,933. In terms of the collection rate, so the collection rate right now, year to date for February is 86.8%. Now in relation in February of 2020, it was year to date, it was 90.6%. So it's 90.6% last year at this time, 86.8% at the end of February. So it ticked down year to date. So of course, that's something that obviously the collection rate is probably the most important number that I really track and take a look at. And so I've already calculated the March collection rate, and just to see if this number, say, was possibly an anomaly, and it appears to be, because in March, the year-to-date collection rate, or the month-to-date collection rate in March actually ticked up to 99.5%, which made the year-to-date collection rate in March go up to 91%. Now, the year-to-date collection rate in March of 2020 was 93%, but we're definitely trending back up again. So hopefully it'll pull back up even here within the next month of where we were last year. But the good thing is, at this point, this lower collection rate in February seems to be a temporary anomaly at this point. Now, turning the next page to page 4 in your agenda packet. So this is just, all this is just your capital reserve funds, your operating reserve funds. So in relation, like this column, or this, anyways, this bold line right here, it's not highlighted as easily now, but any of these bold lines like SURF, 1,862,952, like we could go right back to the balance sheet and there it is right there. So that's how it ties out. And that 1,688,052, that's the December 2020 balance. If we went back to this, this should be the beginning number, which it is. And that's basically how you could track it back and forth with the balance sheet. But this is just dues coming in, investment income, this expenditure line item. These would just be all your capital expenditures plus any expenditures going out, or just checks going out to pay for capital projects, stuff that the board has approved. And then down here, the 10-month outlook is just by the 95% collection rate, what we're projecting will come in for the next 10 months. This obligated expenses line item right here is just capturing all of the stuff that the board has approved for capital projects that we, the unspent portion of that. So it just basically assumes that it's all going to be spent because the board approved it. Only the capital projects that they approved. So it's not what's in a reserve study, it's what the board has actually approved. And then with these board recommended carryover balances, gives you, basically what you're looking at, net usable cash 12/31/2021 for surface 1.9 million, 2.4 million, close to that for roads, and so on and so forth. So this is just a function of cash coming in and expenditures, mainly your capital expenditures are the big things. Now, if we turn to the next page, page 5, you're looking at the income statement again. So like, for example, this net operations, see this 70,968. We're only looking at the month of February. If I went right back to that income statement, see there's that exact same number, 70,968. But now you're looking at it by department. So it's breaking up all that income in terms of what departments contributing to a loss or revenue or whatever. Golf on here, of course. So in relation to golf is basically the biggest department in terms of revenues, coming in. Outside of dues, obviously, but like with with golf. So the revenue for the month, only for February, since we're just looking at only the month, it was 30,567. Last year's 39,738. So it's lower by about a little over $9,000 revenue wise for golf for the month. Expenditure wise, which is just this salary benefits number right here, and then the actual other expenses right here, those two combined, golf total expenses comes to 66,568. Last year is 70,723, so they're actually lower expenditure wise by a little over 4,000 as well. So net income for golf is net loss of 36,000. Last year they had a net loss of real close to 31,000. So they're a little worse net income wise than they were last month by about 5,000, but that's only for the month. If we turn to the next page, page 6 in your packet, now we're looking at the exact same layout again, but this is year to date. So this is probably the most important thing to really look at. This is January to February year to date. And so now if we look at the golf numbers, and then once again, like that 114,190 number here, like if you went back to your income statement, there's that number right here. So that's how it ties out. It's just broken out by department. But in golf, we had revenues. Now we're looking at it for the full year, meaning January, February, 215,716 right here for revenues for golf. Last year they had 185,149, so they're actually now higher for the year by about $30,500, real close to that. Expenditure wise, which was that actual salary benefits number here, actual other expenses here, then total expenses for golf, $112,912. Last year they were $102,600, so their expenditures is higher by about $10,300, which then gives them net income of $102,804 for the year. Last year their net income was $95,820, so they're about real close to about $7,000 higher net income wise for the year. Now the big in terms of being worse than budget, obviously the big thing right here would be the maintenance line item, 38,716, and that's what that's attributable to is about 27,650 approximately is weather related, snow removal, weather related stuff, and then the about 12,145 is repair and maintenance type stuff that it just happens to have hit earlier in the year. But I would say that those are basically the big highlights for the financial statements. If anyone had any questions.
Hard to, if you have questions, can't see everybody.
I'll take off the screen share. You want to do that?
Oh, speak up if you got a question.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Sonia.
I'm just curious. I'm sorry if I missed your explanation on it, and I did watch the meeting last night, and I didn't hear it addressed there. But why is the marina revenue down compared to last year?
Basically the thing with marina would be when we get those billings, like when Gil gets those billings, it's an accounts receivable, and it's just the billings for like all the mortgage fees and stuff like that. It's just coming in a little later this year, and that's really the only difference. Is I believe it hit maybe last year, if I remember right, around February. So this year, when those billings are actually being made and then getting into us to accounting, it's going to be a little later on. But that will right itself as soon as those mortgage type billings, like for the wet slips, dry slips, those sorts of things, start to roll in. So that's really about the only huge difference with that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I've got a question, please.
Sure.
So when we look at page 3 and we look at revenue for the current year dues and assessment income, that $182,016, is that you taking the dues from the budget, the $2,076,112, and dividing that by 12, so it's the same amount every month?
So I think, let me see here, just to go back to this for you. So I believe, Linda, you're talking about this
Yeah,
number. So this,
Yep.
yes, so this is actually, this is the dues amount that is actually charged to all the members for February, is what that is. So that's the gross dues revenue that's being charged. And each month it will track, yes, about that.
yeah, so it should always be about that same amount. I just wonder, because there's a variance sometimes, and I wasn't certain how you did that, whether you took the gross budget from the AGM, you know, from the AGM measure, and then just divided that number by 12, or
Well,
exactly
actually,
how that, I see what you're telling me. That's what I wanted to know.
it's got to be really close to that, but these will actually, the thing that will really drive this will be actual billings that Gil pushes through, like through accounts receivable to everyone's accounts.
Gotcha. And we will vary. There will be times when a vacant lot will become developed because it's been finished, or does that stay the same all year long?
No, you're exactly right. If someone had a vacant lot and they develop it, then their dues go up, so to speak.
To the developed lot instead of the vacant. Okay.
Right. Or if someone combines a lot or something like that, or, yeah.
Yeah, then you lose that one lot. Yeah, then you lose the one vacant lot dues. Okay, I
Yeah.
understand now. Thank you.
Yeah.
Any further questions?
Seems like it.
All right, hearing none, we will move on. So next on the agenda, it
Thanks,
looks like we,
Sure.
what was that?
Oh, no, I just said thanks, Joel. Sorry, AJ.
Sorry.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you, Joel. Yeah, next on the agenda is ACC policy change. So I'll hand it over to Noel.
Unmute. Thank you, AJ. The policy that we are wanting to change, actually amend policy 14.8.2 construction application to include that all documents be submitted in electronic PDF form. This is what the county requires, so it would be an extra burden. So it would not be an extra burden on builders to do the same for us. This also allows the committee members to have ready access to the submitted documents, most importantly, the plans, tree removal, and revegetation plan, without having to check out the new construction folder. It would also allow digital archive of the construction folder, which we currently do not have. If the policy change is to be sent to the document review, I would expect that it come back to the ACC committee to make sure that any changes to the policy made by the document review committee maintain our initial purpose in the changes. Basically, the changes that we're wanting to do is just add in that any submittals by builders also be in PDF form, digital PDF form.
Was that the motion?
Are you,
Well,
you're suggesting we should go through document
My
review
first
committee then?
time. Yes, my proposal is to change the wording of that to be everything that is in red in what I sent to you. What's in red is what we would want to be changed. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So
Sorry, Noel, I didn't mean to say anything bad there.
No, that's good. I've never had to present this, and so that was
You
my
did awesome.
That was my statement as to why, and It's just to add additional information and digital storage.
May I suggest before we make a motion, is there any discussion on whether we think it needs to go before document review committee? Or if we can approve it here tonight?
Was that a question for me or just for everybody?
Everybody. You know, that way we can just make one motion. We don't have to get all confused with amended motions and things like that.
I think it all looks
I
pretty
think that it's,
straightforward.
that's what I was gonna say. Yeah, and you've got the entire document review committee here. So,
Oh, good.
yeah, so I think it's fine too.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was rather impressed. Thank
Oh,
you, Noel.
thank
Good
you.
job.
There were some changes that we did from the original thing we voted on, but those changes were to correct wording to, from certain words where it must, I changed them to shall, because that's the appropriate wording that we have to have. So if that ever comes up, that's the reason why. Clean it up, make it simple.
AJ, comment if I might, please.
Linda.
Just that if it goes to the document review committee, that they look at it and maybe give approval as soon as possible. You know, Glenn has indicated we may have as many as 40 starts this year. And until this is approved and blessed by everybody, they can't make this part of the manual or part of the requirement for any of the builders.
Thank you.
Sounds like half a document review committee is, you know, already feeling comfortable with it. If the rest of the board feels comfortable voting on it the way it stands, then we could probably just move forward that way. Are there any objections to not, or is there anyone who thinks we need to send it to document review?
I guess I think we should send it to document review, but I think the chair of the document review just said it's okay. So for that reason, I'd be okay supporting it. Otherwise, I'd say let's send it to document review.
Or we send it to document review and you guys create a meeting as soon as possible to make sure that this is handled appropriately.
We have a meeting on Monday. We could run it through on Monday.
Oh, well, then that's super soon.
Justin, it's up to Justin.
Yeah, well, I saw Glenn's not available on Monday though. Are we?
Oh, I am. I'm available for that meeting, yes.
For the morning?
Just not in the afternoon, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, then we can just do that for prudence, then get it through real quick.
Noel?
So if it goes to document review on Monday, then does it have to wait till the next meeting to ratify it, or
yes,
when will it be stamped and ready to go?
I mean,
I guess it looks.
Is it going to be another? Is it going to be another 2 weeks till we get this approved? Is that what happens?
yeah, the board would have to then approve it at our first meeting in May. You know, I think the intent is to get electronic submissions. We probably should have already had this in our policy about 8 years ago.
We're a little behind.
So I don't see any issues with it. Yeah.
If we see something after the fact that strikes us as something we should have changed, we can always change it still, right? I mean, so we could approve this and then still review it at the meeting and just make sure at the committee meeting that we're still good to go. And if everything still looks good on Monday, then we say we made a good choice on Thursday. Is that a fair way to proceed, or is there something wrong with that?
Yeah, the only issue I could see is if like any of the cited sections or for some reason are typoed or incorrect, like, 14.8.10 or something. But beyond that, I don't.
So we could always like approve this and then with the condition that if there's something we find that needs to be changed, we'll update it again at the next meeting from what we submit.
Yeah, I mean, if the board approves it, I think that's probably all that needs to happen. I don't think you need to revisit it. I would imagine the ACC made sure the sections were referenced, appropriately and everything like that. So, I mean, basically it's just that first sentence is the main change there.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Or if we were to get member
electronic
feedback or
submittals are
something.
pretty standard these days.
I'm good with voting on it tonight.
We'd also be, well, they still have to submit paper copies.
Yes,
I was gonna say there'd be less paper.
there's always going to be paper.
Well, eventually we get a good system, maybe not, but for now, for sure. And staff supports this 100%. We appreciate the ACC doing this.
I would suggest that Noel just make the motion to approve the policy as presented in the board packet.
Okay. I move that.
Get a consensus.
Should I do that now?
Yes, please.
Okay. I move to make the changes to the ACC policy 14.8.2 as presented.
Second.
Any further discussion? All right, we'll call the question, the motion as stated just recently. All those in favor? Any opposed? Looks like that passes unanimously.
Yay, thank you.
We'll move forward.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Noel.
Thank you.
Congrats on you presenting your first thing to the board.
I can breathe now.
I understand that feeling. All right, we will move on and I'll hand it over to Andrew for the two parks items.
Thanks, AJ. I guess we'll start with the member approval. So we have one member to approve who's been vetted by staff and COPE. So we'll make a motion to approve and COPE to the PTR committee.
Second.
All right, anybody opposed? All right, that passed by acclamation.
Thank you, everyone. And second is the amendment to the PTR charter. Pretty in the weeds stuff, nothing alarming. We've changed the member count from 9 to 15. We're a pretty passionate group, so we'd like to meet more than 4 times. So we changed that to 6. And under the responsibilities section, we changed the language in item B from perform inspections to review conditions. And it's all highlighted in your packet in yellow. So I'll make a motion to approve the changes as presented.
Second.
We have any discussion on that?
Just one weird thing. Is it is the minimum for number of meetings, isn't that like I don't know if it's bylaws or if it's our rules and regs, but where's that listed?
Yeah, it's in the committee bylaws, I think. The minimum, it's just a minimum amount of meetings, so changing it to 6 just would up that minute. It's not a maximum amount of meetings.
Okay, so just like every other month is basically what you're saying.
Yeah.
That you want the minimum. Okay, yeah. I was just wondering if that was, yeah.
That's correct, yeah.
Yeah, it already has a minimum. I was thinking the same thing. You don't really have to do that. The thing that you're talking about of striking through, I agree with that. I think you could remove that entire piece because it is like a kind of a risk assessment type of a thing that really shouldn't be put on volunteer committee members anyway. I actually think that whole part could be removed. Just a suggestion.
Yeah, that's great. And we looked at that from a risk analysis too, and that was part of the reason for the amendment language recommendation. So the team is comfortable with the language as presented.
I wasn't opposed to anything. I was just curious.
All right, anybody else? Okay, so we will call the question. The motion on the table was to approve the changes as presented in the board packet to the Parks, Trails, and Recreation Committee resolution. All those in favor? Any opposed? All right, that passes. Thank you, Andrew. And we have no new business today, so I'll pass it over to John for the last round of property owner comments before we adjourn.
Okay, back over to property owners' comments. Still have 12 people with us. If you'd like to add your comments to the meeting, just use raise hand in Zoom. That feature should be at the bottom of the screen if you're using the computer client, or if you're on a mobile device, I believe if you just tap the screen, there should be an option there, or perhaps a menu.
Tough crowd tonight, John.
Yeah. Perhaps not tonight.
All right, well, let's call it a night.
I think
All right.
we need to continue to meet for another 2 hours because that's what I'm accustomed to doing.
Good luck
Getting
with
better
that
now.
We will leave it open for you so you can do that.
We did add an hour at the front for you. So.
Yeah.
That's true. We did start earlier. Okay, I'll accept that.
Yeah,
All
there's
right.
still daylight. I won't know what to do.
All right, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
All right, all those in favor?
Second. No, second first.
Third, fourth, fifth.
All right.
Bye. Thank you,
Have a good
everyone.
night,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Bye.